Don't get hit's what I often say, so here's more on keeping the attacks away. Parries can mean a few different things, but the beat is one where the sword really sings. Oh, hey again, friends. Lauren back with you, and a little bit more on parrying because there were some comments from people asking some questions, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about a beat as a parry. So a beat means impacting one thing into another, okay? So we'll drop the beat, and we'll talk about the first thing really quick. Lucas Sky, a viewer, and thank you very much for asking about it. You want to know about parries against things like maces and warhammers. Well, you wouldn't just cleave into the head. This is really gonna bunch up your sword. So you could make the sword sing by parrying into the half, but you could also knock it out of the way, and that's what a beat is. A beat is usually with the flat of the blade, but you can do a beat with the edge. It all depends on the weapons that you're using, the situation, but using the flat to just give a smack to the opposing weapon, and you can hear that it sounds really nice too. Nothing like the sound of a ringing steel. So that's one way you could deal with it. Plus, you'll see the difference. Yeah! If you have a sword against something like a mace or a warhammer, something single-handed, you definitely have an advantage of reach. You could likely just dodge, get out of the way, step back, side step, circle step, triangle step, whatever step you want to call it. You can just move, do thrusts and quick little cuts with the tip. You can definitely get at the opponent. But it's probably armored fighting that's going on. If someone has a mace, they're probably in armor, fighting you with armor. And then all the techniques go out the window anyway. So you would probably be using the shortened sword version of armored fighting, and you would catch it and manipulate. But yeah, the haft is definitely where you want to go. You don't want to crash your blade into the head of the mace. This is not going to be good. This is where all the weight is. And I just like pinging the swords. I just like making the sounds. Okay, well that's just a quick little follow-up. Lucas Guy, thank you for that question, and I answered some of it, but just a little bit more about that. So, the beat, what does it mean? Well, I'm going to switch swords real quick. Let's see if we can get this one to stay where it should be. There we go. Alright. So, the beat means to use the sword in a manner, your swords are crossed, neutral bind, maybe you just want to create a little bit of opening and get in with a thrust or a quick cut. The beat is basically a motion like that. You pivot your hands. You don't want to wind up, because as soon as you wind up, you create an opening. But when you're cross close, using the hand that's closer to the pommel, so in this case my left hand, and I just kind of snap, pivot. I'm pushing and pulling at the same time, snap, hitting the opposing blade out of the way, and coming in for a thrust, or snap, cut, and attack. So a beat parry can be a thing. Of course, that's not really a parry because we're using it off the attack. So what do we really want to say is there's something called Wechselhau. And so let's say you attack and the opponent just gets out of the way. I've attacked, I was a bit eager, my sword is way down here. What that means is if the opponent is attacking, I can parry with a beat by coming up and hitting the opposing blade. Kind of tough to show with just me here in the home studio. But essentially you are cutting, the sword is coming down, you are cutting up into it and knocking it aside. And so of course the blade really sings because you get that nice steel on steel, and you're just knocking enough of that incoming attack out of the way along with some movement. You don't just stand there, you want to step back, knock the sword out of the way, and guess what happens? You clear enough of the point that you create an opening for your counter attack. So that's Wechselhau, or Wechselhau, however you want to say it. But that is a beat parry. What does that mean? It means you can use the flat of the sword to do a parry. And that's really what I want to talk about, because that came up in some discussions on Discord and a few places. So yeah, you can use the flat. I alluded to it, that yeah, there are ways to use the flat in the defensive motion, and these are two of them. The beat, for the use of parrying, whether you're knocking the opponent's blade out of the way before you can attack, or you're defending yourself and creating space for a counterattack, you can use the flat of the blade. So that action, and as long as you're getting it, if you're doing that where the center of percussion is, so we see the sword doesn't really wobble there, but it wobbles there and there. If this is where you're beating, you're going to get a pretty good impact to knock the opposing blade out of the way. That actually hurts a little bit if we keep doing it. And bang, bang, in. Or defense, attack. So there are ways to use the flat, and we usually use that as a beat. You can beat away the opposing blade with the edge, sure, but slap, you get that nice action, because usually you have the sword ready. You can turn the sword, edge onto the opposing flat, or flat onto the opposing flat, and then go in. So just a really quick video to talk about a few things that you have been talking to me about from a few weeks back, and yeah, the beat. We'll probably talk more about the beat as an attack with different types of swords and other weapons in future videos. But yeah, two quick things. Beat, being good against maces and warhammers, just kind of smacking them out of the way if they're not attacking yet to get in, using the beat against an opposing sword, and using the beat as a parry, just with that kind of action. And if we keep doing that, the camera will lose its focus, and that's not good for the video. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Do remember, like, subscribe, comment especially, because your comments help shape the content of the channel. I appreciate when you have the feedback for me, the questions for me, that I can then answer for you, because that's what makes the channel work. Anyway, take care, stay safe, and remember, keep the beat going.